بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Imam Muslim collected a hadith on the authority of Salama, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says عليه الصلاة والسلام من كان له ذبح يذبحه, any of you who intends to sacrifice, meaning to do the udhiyah, the Qurban, فإذا أهل هلال ذي الحجة فلا يأخذ من شعره ولا من أظافره شيئا حتى يضحي. As soon as the crescent moon of the month of the Thul-Hijjah shows, let him refrain from cutting the nail and any hair of the body off until he does his udhiyah. And of course in this hadith, the fiqh of this hadith, meaning the understanding of what it means, brought the scholars to two different opinions. One is, and both of them are related to the whom is the person or the persons that are meant in this hadith. Is it just the father of the family or every member of the family that they intend to do the udhiyah? And then this is where you have the two difference of opinions, both opinions. The opinion that goes, or the first one goes to make that exclusive only to the father, meaning he is the one in charge of the family and he is doing the udhiyah on behalf of not only himself but the rest of his family members. But the language of the hadith though favors the second opinion, and that is this goes to cover every individual of the family, not just the father but also the mother, the kids, and every member of the family. And this is proven by an incident that happened with Abdullah ibn Umar. Abdullah, the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab, saw a lady cutting the hair of her son during that period. And he said, should you leave it until after the udhiyah, after you've done your udhiyah, would be better and more rewarding for all of you. This is one. Number two, the language, as we said, includes every member of the family. In other words, if you were to ask any member of the family, are you doing the udhiyah this year? They will say yes or no. So if they say yes, they mean that they are part of that udhiyah. And then they don't say no, I'm not included in it. This is two. Three, this is an act of worship. Unlike the rest of the acts of worship, the intent from the parents is to teach their kids and include them in the practices of all of the aspects of the act of worship for themselves to benefit from the reward, but also to learn the discipline of it for them to hand it over to their own kids later. So with that being the case, it is very important to refrain from cutting nails and hair of the whole body, not just the hair of your head, but also shaving the armpits or any parts of your body until you could do it prior. You could do it before. You want to cut your nails, make sure you do them, especially for those who have their nail grow so fast and they will be bothersome during that period. Cut them right before the beginning of the month of the Thul-Hijjah, and then wait until after the udhiyah. And some of the scholars pointed out, but especially, I'm going to pause here for a second, one of the things to keep in mind is shaving any parts of the body is not permissible during that period, but especially the beard. The beard is a form of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ says that this is the sunnah. The beard is a sunnah, is a practice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded all of the prophets to to implement and their followers to do. And if you were to think about, subhanallah, the beard, it is one of those acts of worship you do for Allah Ta'ala's sake. And ironically, and one of the sad things about this is most of those who shave their beard, they do not mean to disobey Allah. All it is just a practice that they got used to. In other words, we can also get used to the opposite, which is the act of worship in of itself. And that is, you grow your beard, and it doesn't have to be long, but at least you have what is known. If somebody looks at you, will say that person has a beard, this person does not have a beard. Grow some hair. And usually people, they have, of course, their own reasons. Some, they have really serious problems. Once they grow a beard, they have some skin problem. Well, that's a reason. But justification is not a reason, though. A justification like what? It itches so much. Of course it does. Especially if you're not used to hair on your face in the beginning stages, it will be itching so hard. But then again, you go over that phase and it becomes the norm with you. Not only that, but this is an ongoing source of generating reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this practice. You're not doing it for the looks or for the fashion, but you're doing it as an act of worship, where as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that on the Day of Judgment people will be looking for as little as one good deed to save them and allow them to go to Al-Jannah, let alone something that would generate a lot more than one good deed a day for you on a daily basis. The point, refraining from cutting nail and shaving the hair of the body or shortening it during that period is an act of worship. And it's a discipline that not only should we implement, but we should also include our family members in doing so as well. And one of the things, or one of the wisdoms that some of the scholars pointed out in regards to why, not that we should ask the reason why do we do this, because any of the practices that the Prophet ﷺ direct us to implement is for the sake of implementing. Again, as we mentioned before, not to analyze the wisdom behind should there be any wisdom behind it and we'll learn, it gives you even more firm understanding and firm belief in that practice. But they pointed out that, subhanallah, the reason why you refrain from cutting nail and shaving is a sense of doing the same thing that the people in Hajj are doing. And when you do that, in regards to those who are in Hajj, the Prophet ﷺ pointed out that, subhanallah, after the person on the 10th of Thul-Hijjah, we're talking here about the people in Hajj, they will shave their hair, cut their nail, and they will change from their ihram into their normal clothes. And he says, ﷺ, with every piece of hair shaved off of your body is a forgiveness of sins for that person. So in other words, you intend from that practice to also generate rewards by shaving, and with each piece of hair shaved off of your body is a hasana, and it is also a sin removed off of your record. And this is not something that you want your family members to miss on in this regard. So it is very, very important, inshallah ta'ala. And I close with this, one little thing that we have to pay attention to in regards to shaving and not shaving, or rather staying away from cutting nails and shaving hair. This has nothing to do with you showering and putting perfume. Of course, when it comes to putting perfume and all of that, this is not permissible for the person who is in state of ihram. This is in regard to Hajj. But for an individual who is not a Hajj, during the period of that 10 days, the first 10 days of Thul-Hijjah, when you're not allowed to cut your nail or shave your hair, you can still shower and you can still put your perfume on and dress nice. You can do all your normal things you usually do. It's just these two you stay away from. And should some hair fall off of your body, or you have a broken nail that is bothersome, cut it. And this is not something you do purposely. But if there is any hair that falls off as you shower or when you comb your hair, this does not affect that state of itself, because the practice in of itself needs to be an easy practice. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who, when they heard the speech, they follow the best of it. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyina Muhammad walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.